If you're the kind of person who wants a folding machine that actually works day in, day out without turning your office into a tech support nightmare, you're probably already feeling a little hesitant. You've seen the glossy ads that promise high-speed, perfect folds every time, but you also know the cost of a misfire, wasted time, jammed paper, and the dreaded feeling that you've poured money into something that won't survive the daily grind. The real question is whether this device is a reliable workhorse you can set and forget, or just another piece of equipment that looks good on the shelf. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I started digging into the Formax FD38X, the first thing I did was step back and think about the actual problem it's trying to solve. In most offices, the routine folding of invoices, letters, and bulk mail can take up a surprisingly large chunk of a clerk's day. A manual fold may seem trivial, but when you have to do it hundreds of times, the repetitive motion adds up, and the errors become noticeable. The FD38X is marketed as an automatic solution for that exact workflow, promising to take a stack of loose sheets and spit out neatly folded packets ready for insertion into envelopes. Who should consider buying the FD38X? If you run a small to medium-size operation where you regularly handle 50 to 200 sheets at a time, think accounting departments, mailing centers, or even a busy home-based business that ships out product inserts, the machine could be a genuine time saver. It's also a fit for anyone who's already invested in a decent paper handling setup, like a printer or a sorter, and just needs the folding step to be automated. On the flip side, if your volume is under 20 sheets a day, or you only need an occasional fold for a handful of documents, the upfront cost and countertop footprint probably won't pay for themselves. One of the practical strengths that became clear during my Hansen test is how the FD38X handles different paper weights without a lot of fiddling. I tried standard 20 pounds copy paper, a heavier 28 pounds brochure stock, and even a thin receipt roll. The machine adjusted its pressure automatically, and I didn't have to stop and recalibrate between each batch. That kind of sit-and-go behavior is exactly what you need when you're moving from one task to the next. You load a stack, press start, and the machine does the rest, delivering a neat stack of folded sheets in under a minute. The output folds were consistent, with no obvious misalignments that would require a manual touch-up. Another real-world benefit is the compact footprint. The FD38X sits on a standard office desk but doesn't dominate the surface. Its footprint is roughly the size of a large desktop scanner, leaving room for a small tray of paper and a bin for the finished folds. For a typical office where desk space is a premium, that low profile is a genuine plus. The power draw is modest, which means you can keep it plugged in all day without worrying about a noticeable bump in your electricity bill. But the machine isn't without trade-offs. The first practical weakness I noticed is the paper jam recovery process. When a sheet does get stuck, which can happen if a corner is slightly bent or if the stack isn't perfectly aligned, the machine stops and flashes an error light. The manual suggests a quick tap to dislodge the paper, but in practice you have to open the feeder, locate the jammed sheet, and gently pull it out. It's not a catastrophic issue, but it does interrupt the flow, especially if you're running a large batch. A little patience is required, and the process could be smoother with a more intuitive jam release lever. Noise is another factor that comes up in real office settings. The FD38X isn't silent. You'll hear a low whirring as the rollers engage and a soft thump when each fold is completed. In a quiet environment, the sound is noticeable but not disruptive. However, if your office is an open-plan space where people are focused on phone calls or video meetings, you might want to position the machine a few feet away or use a small acoustic barrier. Maintenance is something most reviewers gloss over, but it matters when you're looking at a piece of equipment you plan to keep for years. The FD38X has a removable tray that you can pull out for cleaning. A quick wipe with a dry cloth keeps dust from building up on the rollers, and the occasional oiling of the moving parts, as recommended in the manual, helps maintain smooth operation. There's no need for specialized tools or parts, which means you won't be stuck waiting for a service call just to keep the machine running. Cost to benefit is where the value really shows itself. Because the FD38X is a dedicated folding machine, you're not paying for extra features you'll never use, like printing or cutting. Its price point sits in the mid-range for office equipment, not cheap enough to be a disposable, but not so high that it